What kind of dream world are we living in? It's a fact that reckless and distracted driving is the #1 killer of teens in America. And it's fiction to think that it can't happen to you. It can, and it does happen to people just like us every day. In the state of California alone, almost 400 teens die annually from reckless and distracted driving, which is equivalent to 8 full school buses. Look, driving is an incredible opportunity, but the privilege of driving comes with serious responsibility. So it's worth looking at what kinds of things we can do to make sure that when we're driving, we're living in a real world, which means being present and avoiding those potentially lethal decisions. So let's talk about what reckless and distracted driving is. This may seem like an innocent thing, but it's not. Many crashes happen when a person takes just one of their hands off the wheel to simply reach for an object in their car. Don't do it. This is not the time to be a supermodel. And if you're a passenger, remember, you're part of this equation too. The photo shoot can wait. What are you thinking? This is not the time to let your imagination run wild. Keep your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and most importantly, your head in the game, not in the morgue. Learning new driver safety habits and ditching old ones takes a minute to sink in. But it also only takes a second to make one lethally wrong move that could wreck your life or someone else's. It just isn't worth it. So, why do we risk it?
I drive distracted because G-Eazy right here always raps next to me. That's about it.
I got a beautiful voice, so.
When I'm running late for class, sometimes I'm eating and driving at the same time.
I play the game apps on my phone.
I forget I'm driving sometimes and I'm like, oh, they're so pretty. Oh wait, I'm driving.
My mom, she texts all the time while she's driving.
I fix my beard up.
I do my makeup on my way to work.
I take a lot of selfies for the girls.
Dance sometimes.
Look at my phone and change the music.
Watch some YouTube.
My dad were driving and he showed me something on his phone. I got distracted. Next thing I look, I see a dog and I hit it with my car.
I thought that I'd be able to drive home the 3 or 4 hours straight. I thought if I had some energy drinks or sodas, it'd keep me awake enough. It didn't, and I fell asleep and ran off the road. And I hit a bump and flew 15 feet in the air. And that's when I woke up, and it was pretty scary.
Knowing the possible outcomes, don't these reasons seem ridiculous? So please, please pay attention now. Don't wait until tomorrow, because as cliche as it sounds, tomorrow can be too late, as it has been for so many others.
She was the most amazing person that I've ever met.
She was never like that person that put people in a bad mood. She was always trying to put people in a good mood.
She was one of the best people I know. Her heart was so big. I've never met anybody with a heart as big as hers.
We had talked about going to the pumpkin festival and I told her that I wanted to go. And she was like, yeah, I want to go too.
She runs down the steps, she's got her bag and she's like, okay, I'm going to Vicky's house, love you, see you tomorrow. I said, okay, not knowing that was going to be
the last time she ever spoke to me.
That night they were heading back from a pumpkin farm, and they were heading down the highway, and Joe, the passenger, was looking at his cell phone and he felt the car jerk. It hit on the other side of the grassy median and flipped the car over.
I was very close to hitting the car myself, so I kind of closed my eyes. I think it slammed on my brakes, and that's whenever I got out of the car and saw Joseph jump right out. And I realized that he was searching for Sydney, so that's when I started helping him look for her, and I saw Sydney in the ditch.
I started calling hospital after hospital until finally they answered and told me that she was there.
We finally made it to the emergency room, and when the highway patrol people showed up and he said she was ejected from the vehicle, she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. I thought, why? Why did she have it on? And then the ER doctor comes in and he's like, she's very, very sick. She hit her head and we're gonna try to take the swelling down, but where she was hit, it's very unlikely that we're gonna be able to do anything for her.
We miss her tremendously. For some reason, she made a bad decision that day. She clearly was touching her phone, and whether it was texting or looking at something on her phone, that caused the accident. And she also made a bad decision not to wear her seatbelt. That's caused her death. Joe was a front passenger in the car. He was wearing his seatbelt. He walked away from the collision. Vicki was a passenger in the rear seat. She had the lap belt on, but she had the shoulder belt behind her back.
I broke my arm, I broke my neck, and I broke my back.
For the longest time, I blamed that whole thing on myself. Like, I could have stopped that if I was not on my phone texting my mom.
Learning from this for Sydney, because it affected us as healthcare workers, it affected us as people, it affected us as mothers and aunts and cousins and sisters. This is something that isn't just going to affect you. This is something that it's so preventable. These kids don't need to be so distracted. There's nothing that's important enough that's going to cause you to lose your life.
That was just one of hundreds of thousands of true stories about people whose lives have been irreversibly affected by distracted driving. Hard to hear, right? So just imagine if you or your family became one of these stories. The choice is yours. You can live in a dream world that it can't happen to you, that it won't happen to you. But trust me, it can. I should know, because it happened to me. My life was shattered by a reckless driver who crashed into the train I was riding in. He took the lives of my mom, niece, and 2 best friends while I was pulled from the burning wreckage. I live every day thinking about what could have happened if that driver had chosen to drive differently. So please, wake up. You have the power to stop this. And truly, it's as simple as making the right decisions when you're driving, or even riding as a passenger in the car. Remember, the driving world is a real world out there. We don't usually get a second chance to make a right decision behind the wheel. So don't make a crucial mistake in that split-second moment when you think that it's no big deal and that it won't happen to you. The good news is that it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. But it does matter what each of us chooses to do when we walk out the door today. So let's review some of the key things we can do to stop the #1 killer of teens in America. Number 1, buckle up properly. Number 2, speak up when you feel unsafe as the driver or the passenger. Number 3, follow traffic laws. Number 4, put all distractions away before you start driving. And number 5, most importantly, make good decisions in the car, every ride. It's about all of us living in the real world and not a dream world.